Today I'd like to tie for you a yellow buck bug. I had a request from a subscriber in Nova Scotia for an orange buck bug, and I don't have orange deer hair, so I'm going to make a yellow one. The only difference being that you would use orange deer hair instead of the yellow. The hook I have in the vise is a standard dry fly hook. This is a size 8. I'm going to use black thread, and this is a 6/0 thread. It's heavier thread than what I normally use. We're going to put a base of thread down and bring that right to the bend of the hook, or right about where the thread would hang at the barb. And we're going to remove the excess. For the tail, I'm going to use, I have reddish brown hackle, and I'm going to use a bunch of reddish brown hackle fibers, and I'm going to take a pretty decent amount of them, and I'm going to make those tails about the length of the hook shank. And then we're going to tie that in quickly and come back with it. Can put a wrap underneath the tail. Now I'm going to put in the hackle, and I have that same reddish brown hackle, and I have it trimmed to size. I have the crew cut in it. We're going to tie that in. Shoosh. And I'm going to bring the thread back to the tail area. Now I'm going to take clumps of the deer hair, and I want these clumps to be just a little smaller than the diameter of a pencil. And I'm going to cut it off. First thing I'm going to do is pull the fuzz out, because we want this to spin. You don't have to worry about stacking them or measuring keeping all of the tips the same size. I'm going to take that, and I'm going to cut off the tips of it. And I got a little bit more fuzz in there, so make sure you pull the fuzz out. And we're going to hold that on there, and we're going to give it 1-2 turns, then we're going to let it go. And we're going to put a couple of turns through it. For the first one, you have to help it get around through the bend of the hook. So I put like 2 through it, and then I'm going to move the thread in front of it. And I'm going to put a couple of turns right in front of the stack. Just hold them right up. A couple of turns right there in front. And then we're going to take another stack. Clean the fuzz out. Trim off the tips. And we have this little stack of deer hair. We're going to put that right in front. Make that 1-2 turns, and then pull down, let it go. Oop, I was catching the... And now we're going to pack it. We're going to push it in and turn it. Push it in and turn it. Then we're going to move our thread in front of that. And I have to help it around the hook once again. The next one should spin really nicely. And I'm going to probably put maybe 3 more clumps in there. Pack that nice and tight. Now at the end, I'm going to take it, I'm going to put a little bit of a whip finish in there. just in case I cut my thread. Now I'm going to take my bodkin needle, and especially on the very back here, I'm going to stand up the hairs. We don't want to cut our tail off. Now I'm going to use my bobbin cradle to hold my thread out of the way. And I'm going to start by cutting across the bottom on the first cut. And we're going to cut this flat. Push that out of the way. You can see I'm turning it towards me so I can see what I'm doing. Then I'm going to cut these sides. Okay, now that we have it cut like a flat-bottomed football, we're going to take the hackle and palmer that forward. And pull that down inside the hairs. Bring that right up to the eye, and we're going to tie that off. We're going to remove the excess. And make a head on it. I have a couple of hackles right by the eye there. I'm just going to give it a half hitch to get them out of my way. There we go. Clean up the head. Take our whip finisher once again. Pull that tight. I never heard of the buck bug before a couple of days ago, but doing my research on it, I found that there's like two different styles, like the yellow one I just tied, and also one that has a white tail and white wings in the front. So I'm going to tie that one now, and I'm going to, for the tail, I'm going to use calf tail. You can use calf body here. And I cut off a small clump, and I have them in my hair stacker. Got that stacked there pretty good. And that's might be a little bit heavy even, but I'm going to use that. And I'm going to tie these on. And we want them to be about the size of the hook shank. I'm going to bring them right back. And then I'm going to bring my thread forward. And I'm going to stop a little bit away from the eye. I'm going to take my calf tail and I'm going to get a bigger clump because I'm going to have a divided wing. Now I took another clump of calf tail. And I'm just going to pull the long ones out. I'm going to measure that wing up to be the length of the hook shank. Actually going to start them a little bit higher up there. And secure them. And I'm going to cut them off at a taper. Makes it easier securing it. Come up to the front. You want to just lift them just a little bit and divide the wing. Just give it a figure 8 or 2. And then bring your threads back, touching turns all the way back. And I missed a couple touching turns, but that's okay. And we got a divided wing there. Now the hackle, I'm going to use a brown grizzly on this one. And now I'm going to tie the hackle in. And now I'm going to apply the deer hair just like I did with the yellow. I'm going to wrap the hackle, palmer it forward. And tie it off. I'm going to tie it off in back of the wing. A little bit more space there. And go ahead and remove the hackle. I'm going to pull everything back. I'm going to make the head. And I'm going to give it a series of half hitches. Put some head cement on there. Take my hackle and run it through the eye of the hook. If you could get the hackle through, you could get your line through it. And there we go, nice and easily. And here we have a winged buck bug. Hope you learned something from this video. Hope that you would subscribe to my channel. Please refer me to your friends, leave comments, questions, suggestions, and most of all, I thank you very much for watching my videos.